METHOD Lab.
Welcome everybody to the Method Lab, to the METHOD Lab.
There's Roxy.
Hey, Roxy.
Yes, hi.
Oh,
Shout out to everybody.
this cable.
You see how supportive
Right?
the 102 family, we all in here. You know what I'm saying?
Avengers assemble.
Right,
Yes.
right. We couldn't let our man go on by himself, so I was like, we gonna stick. Even Chris stuck around. You know what I'm
Chris, you been
saying?
doing radio all day? What's up? You been doing radio all day?
I don't know.
You don't know?
You've been here since
You been
lunch
here
break.
with us, right?
Oh, yeah. It's
Yep.
The other show, right?
Yep.
All right. You enjoy it?
What's up?
Yep.
All right. You getting your work done?
Yep.
All right.
Man, all
right.
solid
There
answers.
it is.
All
What's
solid
up?
answers.
Right. Right to the point. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Right to the point.
It is what it is.
Well, all right, y'all. We was just sticking around to help Gio out.
Yeah,
Roxy's
yeah.
here, so we gonna fall back.
Yeah.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Gio.
Thank you for sticking around, OG.
Yeah, of course.
Peace.
There
Later,
you go.
Chris.
He's
There you
used to
go.
it now. Yeah.
Yeah. Is this, your
You
stuff
can sit over
already?
here, Eddie.
Yeah, no, Ed, you can sit right here, man.
Yeah, I'm
If you
gonna
can sit
scoot
in today,
over.
you can sit here. You guys can sit wherever. I'm gonna go do me. I got work to do.
Sure, I think going up on you.
Yeah.
You guys are witnessing the camaraderie that we have around here. We're sharing donuts. We're moving around. We're helping kids with homework. We
Right.
do it all.
I need to definitely find out about getting in this blue book.
All right, thank you.
I know the guy. I got his number.
Do you?
Yeah. Don't you know him too? Eh?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us, Roxy. Good seeing you again.
As we were talking yesterday, I apologize. I'm just a smidge late for you.
Oh, you're good.
I had some therapy. So, hey, it's important to take care of your mind, your body, your soul. So, and that's why I was like, just a smidge. I'm like telling my guy, I'm like, hey, I got to get out of here a little early. He's like, yeah, that's fine.
No, we appreciate you coming through.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you had a good convo, that means you're in a good frame of thought to conversate. So
Right,
let's see where we
right.
go today.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. I feel like we were saying yesterday, it's always good to have somebody to talk to, even if it's not a healthcare professional, just somebody to get through the days for yourself, and it's just, there's so much overwhelming things happening in this world, in this life, and we're all in different places, and sometimes you just need someone to talk to. And that's important to me, that I have somebody I can turn to. But like I said, you got a friend, your mama, your sister, man, sometimes strangers in the grocery store, I know that's crazy, or even the laundromat, you get to talking to people, and you could just talk, and there's no skin in the game. Like I said yesterday, they just leave. They're not going to sit there and judge. Maybe they will, but you don't hear it, and they just leave,
Or maybe they weren't there at all.
Right. Ooh. Oh my God.
I've always been intrigued with that, the concept of having a conversation with a stranger. Like growing up Catholic, like you're always, well, Jesus shows up to the apostle and they have this deep conversation and they have the understanding, And sometimes people can give you that experience where like, wow, I never even imagined that I would meet somebody like that would get me, or at least put some knowledge in, and that in itself is something that's not normal for people. I grew up in California in Alcoholics Anonymous because my grandmother was big into it. So I was always around drug addicts, alcoholics that were trying to
Better their lives.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they always had, somebody that's in that process of their life is trying to prevent people to follow them, That's always going to be, so all the stories, all the life experiences that they would talk to me about as a kid, always stuck with me.
Okay.
So having those conversations, those candid conversations with strangers, is always intriguing to me because you usually learn more than from somebody that knows you who's gonna. They know you, so they know how to navigate your conversation to get through, where you need to get to.
Yeah.
Which at times that's not what you need. You don't need the same river, you're trying to go upstream or
Yeah.
trying to go somewhere else, you know. So,
Yeah. I definitely understand that. I mean, so I love talking to strangers. I mean, I actually love talking. I think that's why this works perfectly. I love driving and talking. So I'm like, if I can make a business out of that, hey, man, you know?
right?
But yeah, I totally agree with that. So I do consider myself a Christian still.
Okay.
And I talk to my daughter, my little one, she's very Christian. And my oldest is Catholic.
Okay.
And but more than anything, I talk to my little one more about this. But because my oldest, I feel like she already has like that idea. It's true. I feel like it's real true. If that's what you believe, you know, there's so many other beliefs. You could believe whatever you want. But I promise you, there's some times where you just pray and then somebody comes into your life next to you and they're like, hey, are you okay? A stranger, you know? And all of a sudden, it's like they opened you up and they made you think a different way or said something and you're like, damn, I hear you, God, you know, or I hear you, my higher power, you know, wow.
Yeah.
And it just, sometimes it clicks like that with people.
Yeah. Like,
So,
I don't know. It's like I'm not really a religious person in the sense of I follow a denomination or I follow a specific. But I'm a firm believer that when it comes to anybody's creator, it's just like the truth. Like there's no way you might call him this thing, you might call him that thing, but if it is truly the higher power, regardless how you name him or how you frame him, how you draw him, there's only that.
for you, your personal experience.
And if it's multiple or it's a team of different, you know, that serve different, you know, purposes or whatever, then that's you. You know, but regardless, that is who you perceive as your ultimate, you know, divine intervention or power, you know, then
Right.
you know, you can't be like, well, I'm this and that and this and that. And like, no, what is it?
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
But to each their own.
Yeah, you know, it's again your spiritual journey, whichever your feelings, whatever you want to call it. I call it spiritual journey. It's exactly what you said. To each their own.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel your own way about your own things. As a Christian person, you know, I'm queer and I totally believe in God and, you know, other things. And, you know, so that's my life. I know where my path is with that. You know, I know where I stand. But I was just telling Sair, like, you know, like last week or whatever, I'm like, I would be interested in learning more about like Islam. And I'm always interested about learning other cultures and other like religions and things, you know, that people, you know, why? I am always asking why? And I have people asking me too.
Yeah.
Why do you believe in the faith that you do, or what's the faith that you have? And it's just, again, it works for me individually and I don't push it on other people.
Yeah.
You know, I used to definitely be more of a disciple person. I used to go out and just talk to people, strangers and stuff. I was that person for strangers, you know, where I would be like, you know, maybe God could help you with that. And some people were like really open to it and some people were like, oh my goodness. So I'm like, you know what? That's awesome, honey. You go home, you think about that, pray, whatever you do, light a candle. I tell people now it's across the board. I don't ever just put it into one package anymore. And it's not one package really, religion anyway, so.
Yeah. Because, you know, one religion might tell you to be strong. Another religion will tell you to be softer in your approach.
Right.
And you might find out that you need a little bit of both or a little bit more of one than the other, you know.
Right.
So it's like any recipe, you got to make it your own.
Definitely. You're going to live with yourself, so.
Exactly. You know, if you're a hypocrite and not happy with yourself, but you're okay with it, well, ain't nobody else going to carry your cross for you.
Right. There's so many people out there that are just okay with who they are.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes you're hurting people around you and you're not like taking responsibility for, you know, what you're doing to people. You could be damaging other people around you. And as a parent, you know, as a parent too, we have a huge responsibility to like be, you know, a role model and then after a while, a friend, you know, like, cause your kids, they look at you as their parent, but once you reach a certain age and you're like, you know, yeah, you're my parent, but I don't need you like that, like I used to, you know, because we were the ones that gave all the answers, you know, and as they're getting older, they're finding their own ways. And you just have to have that hand there and be supportive, you know. I mean, again, your kid, your teenager, anyone, or even your spouse or friends, everybody's trying to find themselves. So give them that space, you know, and respect that everybody's on a different path. We're all running upstream, downstream. Some people are on the side of the river, you know.
Some people are trying to jump out the water.
Right. So, hey, you know.
And it's so similar. Like, you have to be aware of what you're going through, you know. It's like like you said, with parenting, it's, you know, there's so much that I see in my son that I used to do at his age, but he does it different, you know. And like, as a parent, like, where's your position to, you know, I was never one that was for coddling, you know, because that I was never really coddled. Like, I was made sure that I was made aware of where I was fucking up or what I was doing right or, you know, but, you know, what is the correct approach? You know, is there really one? You know, because some people, you can love them and give them everything and walk them all the way through, and they'll still destroy themselves, or, you know. Now, then, as a parent, you ask yourself, okay, was it my fault? Did I coddle him too much? Did I not let him experience too much? Or is he really just living his own life?
Right.
You know? But
yeah, and you know what? That's kind of, that right there is such a crazy thing to me, because, like, so I'm going to say I have some friends that, one, they grew up in the same household. They were equally, you know, spanked back in the day, and they had kind of like a strong will, and their mama would, you know, just a smidge give them a little coddling, but for the most part, they were like disciplined family, you know? And one sister is straight up like chill, cool. She, you know, she goes to church. She's just such a different person. Yeah. The other sister's a drug addict that's always mad about everything. And I'm thinking to myself, y'all grew up in the same house. Y'all grew up around the same people. What changed? Like, what internally made you be as bitter or angry or just turn to addiction? Like, what was that? What was that for you? I could understand, you know, you're drinking on the weekends, smoking a little weekend, you know, doing whatever you do on the weekends. But when it starts spilling over and you start like treating people around you, your children, yourself, and just being like a garbage person, I hate to say, get out of that. And was it your parent? Was it you? Are you still just holding on to old stuff that it doesn't even matter anymore? You know? So I feel like, try to get out of that. I mean, DMX, man, he just passed away. And he's had demons his whole life. And what was that? What kind of house was he in? Where was his mind? Where could he been? You know, and I feel like that right now with everybody around us. We're all in, like I said, our different paths. And yeah, you know, what do you turn to when you have parents that are the same? And one person turns out one way and one person, so it's a hard situation because, you know, your people are doing their own thing. So.
Yeah, you know, it like you mentioned DMX, you know, addiction is a very taboo thing to talk about in the open, because it's a judgment. You know, it's a judgment to the person that's experiencing it, to the family. You know, it's not that some might perceive it as an embarrassment, but it's something very real. You know, very real that has to be addressed. And some people don't like addressing. And some people don't like being put in positions where they don't have the control of the result. You know, and that in itself it opens up a can of worms that you have to deal with as a family or as a unit or as the people that are alongside of you, you know. And then it's a real eye-opening thing, because you start seeing, oh, well, yeah, that's family, but they're really not in it with me. You know, like, it really makes you, it can either make you better or it makes you run faster towards the direction that you're going in, because, you know, if you're in this situation because you're being forced to confront something and now you're being forced to confront it in a different light to get out of it. It's like, oh, well, I can't do that. Let me just fucking run faster. Or like, okay, now let's get through this. Let's see what the cause is, you know.
Right.
And I guess that's why people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to, you know, go to therapists or go to life coaches or go to trainers, because sometimes we need that assistance, you know, sometimes we need that other perspective.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes we need to be reminded that, holy shit, other people's perspectives are fucked up. I'm better off just listening to myself.
Right.
You know. You know, and,
Oh yeah.
you know, and that's the beauty of it. You know, you just have to be, you can't let your sense of perception or how do you take in information, you know, get clogged, because when you do, like we mentioned yesterday, or how I mentioned yesterday, like sometimes you get into scenarios where that is the fear, where you're not on point to recognize, you know, what it is that you're taking in.
Oh, I think a feedback or something. One of the chords.
Oh,
Do you
it's
hear that?
coming in?
Yeah,
I
that
probably
ziz.
hit the.
Oh, Dito.
Is
Goodness.
it like nails on a chalkboard?
You know what is so weird? Like, okay, so switching whole topics here. So weird. Do you hear electricity? Do you
Yeah,
hear stuff like a zzz? Do you hear?
Yeah.
That's so weird to me.
Yeah, that's probably in the headphones, but I do hear the hissing.
Yeah, like I hear or I feel it. Like, so my neighbor where I'm at, they are running their fans all the time.
Okay.
Do you know that I could freaking hear the fan from like a whole hallway cuts us and a door and, you know, and walls.
Yeah.
And I can still like feel the zzz, zzz,
Yeah.
zzz. I'm like, am I going crazy? It's like, what the heck, you know? I think
Probably just bad wiring.
I get, mijo, you never freaking know at this point. You just never know. But yeah, no, sometimes I like when you're by a power station or power lines, you can hear that zzz,
Well,
and it's
yeah,
like, whoa.
We're all frequencies, so you know you do connect with energies.
Matrix.
Matrix. Yeah. That's funny.
Are we alien batteries? Who knows?
Yeah, that's funny. Those conversations, like, oh, those are shit you talk about when you're high. I was like, nah, not necessarily. That's you. Sometimes you just gotta go into topics, the reserves, those oddball frequencies, because there's a lot of people that live their life in that frequency. I remember a few months ago, during the election, when there was the whole campaign of you know, on this date when the moon changed. That, you know, all Black America and the Black population was going to get superpowers, and everybody was so afraid, like, holy shit, they seem to be really going for the superpower thing, like, but you know, like Larry said, you know, yeah, it might be a trend, but for some people, frequencies and the effects of the moon and the stars and tides, like, that's a real thing.
Yeah, it's what is it, that Mercury in retrograde everybody keeps on saying? It's like, yeah, when the moon comes up, the cycles of it or whatever. It's so weird. But yeah, no, it's the electricity is just one weird thing to me, because I can feel the buzzing, and I don't know, I mean, I've always been able to be like that. Like, I'm gonna tell you, sometimes I'm deaf. Like, somebody could be next to me and I'm like, huh, you know, or like if Elle was talking to us from the other side, I'd be like, huh.
Yeah.
But let me hear my freaking neighbor's fan.
And you can hear it a mile away.
For real. I'm like, what the hey is going on? And I'm not high, folks. I don't do any of that. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm not high. You know, now speaking of that, and that's kind of bananas, but like, do you believe in ghosts? Ghosts, spirits, whatever.
I believe enough not to put too much energy towards it. If that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
I'll acknowledge it. I would say that I do believe in it, but it's not something that I put my energy. Like, I really don't like. I'll talk about it, but I don't like inviting that energy.
Yeah, you won't seek it out for you and stuff like that.
If it's real cool, if you do navigate through my energy and through my space, great. Just keep it moving. Don't let me know that just do you. You know,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
I acknowledge you. I respect you, but I don't want nothing to do with you.
Right, go over
You know?
there.
That's why when it comes to movies, like I love movies. I started watching this show. I think we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Them on Amazon, and that's more horror, spirit kind of. It's a weird show, but it's very good. But stuff like, like possession movies and like satanic movies like that. Like I never got through Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 because it got really into like rituals and sayings and
Okay.
and I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't need that shit being said out loud in my fucking house. And next thing I know, I got fucking 6 generations of people trying to walk through my fucking portal in my basement. I'm good.
Yeah, actually, I have a lot of friends like that. They're like, you know what? And even my dad, the other day, like my stepmom, she's so cute. She's like, your dad's a chicken. He doesn't like scary movies. And I'm like, well, why doesn't he like them? She's like, because he feels that when he's watching it, if they're talking about like Satan and devil worshiping and whatever, she's like, she doesn't like it. He thinks it invites it into the house. So he's like, he won't watch it. I'm like, well, that's not really being a chicken. That's kind of being smart, but that's for him because she loves scary movies. I actually love scary movies. But again, when it comes to ritualistic and stuff, I'm like, pero I will watch a lot. The one thing,
like I'll watch them, but I'll have to watch them at somebody else's house.
Darn.
at an off location.
Oh my God, no! I watch them. I don't care. I just, I do believe in like spirits and stuff like that, but I've never gone like ghost hunting. I kind of wanted to, but again, I feel like that's also inviting yourself into like the possibility of opening up. Like, oh, I want to see it. I want to see it. So Shaker Cigar Bar. I don't know if you've ever been.
Yeah,
here.
I've never been, but I've heard that it's got a rich history.
Yes, and it's creepy in a good way. Like, if you like that, it's got a nice speakeasy feeling, and I love it. And I've been there, and the food is phenomenal too. They actually have really good food.
Really good food.
And but I'm chilling there, and I'm just like, I went into the washroom, and they have a picture of an old lady in the bathroom, and it's just a black and white, like real old. Yeah. I promise you, I thought somebody was standing there. Like, I don't know if it was just because like I'm expecting something because everybody says they feel it in the bathroom or my mind, but I'm sitting there and I'm like, wee, and I didn't even go potty. Like I walked in and I was like, and I saw something there and I'm like, okay, I'm leaving. Yeah. And this was the first time I went there. And then the second time, I went with a friend to the bathroom and they're like, hey, have you ever noticed there's a girl in this bathroom too with us? And I'm like, I thought I did see something the last time. They're like, yeah, sometimes she just like pops up as a shadow and you think somebody's there out of the corner of your eye and then you kind of like, what the hell? And you move on. So I'm like, I'm not going crazy. I really thought I did see that the last time. So yeah, I think that's about as much as I want to do. Because like I know a lot of people like to ghost hunt and go to like abandoned places. I don't mind taking pictures there, but I sure don't want to bring nothing home or look at something and be like,
Yeah, nah, that's, and I don't like that shit. I don't know. It just, when it feels like, because I haven't had any experiences where I'm like, okay, I'm for certain. I've been scared of I've worked myself up shitless. I've done that before. I remember one time with my brother Jeremy and Ramon. He lived out at some apartments. This is back when he came back from Iraq, and he believes in that, like full-heartedly, and across. Like there was like woods in between the apartments, but in those woods was a full-on house.
Okay.
Like full-on house. Like, so we were drunk one night and just hanging out. Probably not even drunk, making our way to drunk, And we were like, oh fuck it, let's go see what's in this house. So we all went up the hall, the driveway and shit, and it looked like a Resident Evil game. Like there was the old truck and the couch sitting outside and the car that's all beat up and rusted out. I'm like, okay, this is interesting.
Okay.
I was like, okay, so what's the story with it? What's the deal with this place? I'm like, it was just abandoned and the city can't get rid of it or blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay. So we walk in and it's a fully furnished house and there's like a pool table and like old glassware, and there's magazines everywhere. Just,
So it literally was just like abandoned, straight up.
Yeah, just straight up abandoned, like picture frames, and but then you just started feeling this like as you're working yourself up because like, oh shit, it's pitch dark. You know, at that point, cell phones were flip phones. You know,
boy.
so the light, it's not like right now you get fucking
Blinded,
and,
right?
you know, light a whole room with a phone, you know.
Right.
So that was very creepy. And then like my brother started, I feel something. I'm like, fuck. You're the one that would feel something. And then he's like, oh, fuck. And he just fucking takes off running. And I was like, you fucking asshole, it's pitch dark. And he just took, so we just fucking jetted out with him. But I think it was just me riled myself up. I was like, oh, man.
But you said, this is the brother was in Iraq that ran. So they definitely believe in a lot of spirits and, you know, people there. They have died from so much conflict in such a harsh way. You know, whole houses bombed to rubble. Yeah. So I could see something of a spirit or something sitting around and waiting there, you know. Oh, do we got a phone call?
No.
Oh, okay.
My phone was going off.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like I could see that kind of deal. And then, you know, obviously he's in a high stress situation for like feeling like maybe you won't survive, you know, IUDs or EUDs, whatever those things are that kill you, you know. IUD, jeez, that's a birth control. Good Lord in heaven above. That could kill you too.
Kill you too. Sure. Lack of will kill you as well.
Right. Freaking the women dealing with it and the men, if they don't want a girl pregnant, you know what I'm saying? That could kill you too. So, but yeah, but I could understand like a high stress situation and, you know, but yeah, there's been a few times where I know I felt it by myself in my friend's house too. She says at my old friend's house, she's like, I have sprites in the house. Which I was like, all right, cool. And then not until I saw something again out of the corner of my eye that I was like, oh, okay. And then when I would go to the basement to do laundry, I never felt like I was alone. Like I always felt somebody was there. I don't like basements already. Yeah. So for you to tell me that you have a awesome, soft, cool sprite thing in your house, cool. Yeah. But please, go somewhere else. Right. I'm doing laundry, I'm cleaning. But go over there, you know.
Go to the other room.
Right. It's like, don't be watching me. And then
or at least play Marco Polo so I know where you're at.
Right. But honey, let me tell you, if they would have tipped over a can in the basement, I'd have cried and been freaked. I would have ran out of the house and never came back, you know. But so in Chicago, in Grant Park, it used to be a huge cemetery. Huge. And they basically did a poltergeist with it. They only moved some of the stuff and the top, the stones. Yeah. They didn't move everybody out of there. Yeah. So one night, God, I was young too, like 15 or something like that. We were out nighttime, you know, hanging out, breaking curfew, and we were walking through the Grand Park to get to the lake shore, to the beach. Yeah. And all of a sudden, something big and black, my friend was with me, my best friend at the time, ran across us. And it looked like a bear hunched over just running. And I'm like, and we felt like the wind, and we were like, I go to her, girl, did you see that? Did you feel that? She goes, did you? And I'm like, yeah. Man, from there, I held her hand. We just kept running. We were like, hell no, we ran. And it wasn't until after that later on I found out that Grand Park is full. Like if they did like I'm gonna say an X-ray of the ground, but it might be called something else scientifically. Yeah. But they said they have done a few, and there's coffins still in the ground. Yeah. So that place is very much like a populated energy, place. So,
see, like I like that. I'm conflicted because I enjoy that topic, like you know, like Gettysburg and like shit like that, like that intrigues me, but at the same time it's like I don't want like I'll enjoy it on a documentary,
right? You know? I'll watch it on TV. I don't need to, you know. But even then on TV, you know, like you said, it can creep you out. You know, you go to different places, and like I think so. You know, Chicago, obviously gangsters. You know, and I think. I don't remember where it was, but there was a massacre like down the street by a theater, and they said like certain time of year you could see like still like blood stains and like ghosts walking around. I'm like, do we have to be here? I'm like, can we
And
leave?
Chicago was one. Like, I remember we used to have when my dad had a friend a friend and client that he used to fix cars for down there, and we would go visit them occasionally. And I remember being a kid, oh, go play with the kid upstairs, So I would go up there, but I like listening to conversations, so I'd come down to just eavesdrop and hear what the adults were talking about, and they would talk about that, like, I guess the story was that in that house, like one of the adult males at night would feel like, cuando se te sube el muerto, like when you just get that sleep paralysis.
Oh, yeah.
So he would get that at nights. So he was telling the story, and he's like, well, after a while of experiencing this, I started asking whatever the fuck was causing me that, like who they were or what was it. So the story was that it was a mobster that got assassinated or lived in that house, but he was assassinated because he had taken money and hid it somewhere.
Okay.
So the moral of the story was that this thing told this person where he had hid his
money.
stash.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, whatever. And being a kid, it creeped me the fuck out.
I'm
like,
sure.
Driving away from the house, I was looking at all the windows, making sure I didn't see something.
Well, being in the house and hearing it, I'd have been like, I'd
then
been
after
shrinking.
that, I was like, fuck, now I got to go back upstairs to go play with, we were playing Mortal Kombat. I remember that shit. We were, I was playing with the kid, and, but the crazy part is, like, legit, a few months later, like, we stopped. They did their own thing, but they bought houses. Like, they started living as if they had money now. Oh. I was like, whoa. Like, they came up here and bought properties and shit.
Mira, ver.
I was like, damn. Like, it's always in my mind. It's always been, I'm like, damn, was it true?
Yeah.
It
could have been.
I was like, damn.
So when I was young, and I wish they would have moved out. I really do wish that my grandma and them, they would have moved out. But so in Chicago, we lived in this building, and let me tell you, it's like everybody was in that building. My aunts, my cousins, my aunt, my abuela with my aunt, and my uncle lived across. And then at one time, when everybody kind of moved around and stuff, we ended up in that building as well, my parents and I and my sister. And so Grandpa died in the apartment where my abuela was at.
Oh, okay.
And they lived there for years. I mean, years. And I never knew that bedroom where we would go play as kids and stuff, like he died in there. I always got a weird sense when I was young, but I was like, no, whatever. I used to have nightmares, like, because I didn't know I was lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
So I would have like nightmares where it felt so damn real. Yeah. And I wondered if it was just from sleeping in that stupid room or just not knowing. Pero so later on, how you just said, you're a kid, you're listening, and then I find out later, okay, Grandpa died in there. And then they said that, Dios mío, they said Grandpa used to do voodoo in Puerto Rico. Uh-huh. And so, like, eso te pega, it sticks. And I'm sure the family was traumatized by how, like, evil it made him. Because he was, like, a real hardcore alcoholic, and he was very abusive. So I feel like he already had demons that he was dealing with, and then he invited more, and it just made things worse. And so they said, oh, he died in that room. And I was like, this whole damn time, not knowing why I felt so crazy in that room. And even in that house, I sleep with my abuela, and like my grandma would hold me and put her arm around me, and I'd still be like shaking, and I would have nightmares like crazy. And then, so my parents went to Puerto Rico, like 20 years ago, when we had the camcorders todavía, and they were with the camcorder, and they were taking video, and they were talking about the house. And my uncle, he's a police officer in Puerto Rico, and now he's retired, but anyway, he's like, man, he goes, the house is haunted. And my dad was like, whatever, I know my dad believes in it, but he didn't want to, he's like, whatever. He goes, you don't know. He goes, they have tin roofs over there. Roofs. And he said that one time he came home from work real late, and he just went to bed in the house, and somebody took like chains and they went across the roof with chains. Now, my grandmother's house is on a hill. There's not really anybody around. And to get up in the house, there's like a big old fencing, you know. So maybe had to have, you know, if somebody staged that, they had to have already been sitting there or whatever. And then he's like, he woke up to that, and then he woke up to like screaming, and he walked outside, and, you know, he had his gun, he was looking around. He goes, I didn't find any kind of evidence that somebody was by the house. No, nothing, no brush, you know, nothing, no kind of prints. And he goes, and it was just the worst experience and feeling. And I'm like, oh my God, wee, right? And I'm freaking out too, hearing that through the camcorder. And then my dad turns and the door closes, and then there's like a person like in the window. And I could see my dad do this and then go, like, he said he had to look over to see what it was. And so everybody says that my grandpa's spirit is stuck in the house because of doing all that voodoo and being the horrible person that he was.
They need to get Becky down there with her sage. With her sage and her...
No, it's not Becky. Come out, we'll be Puerto Rican. What will we call her? What we call her? Oh my God. Like, oh my God.
Like, oh, not only is your grandpa in there, now there's somebody else. That's creepy.
Right.
But it's a reality some people live with, you know, that is, like I said, I'll act like it doesn't exist.
Like, I love to hear this because it's such a fascinating fact. So in Haiti, 100% voodoo belief with like 90% Catholicism too.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing. How do you believe in one and the other? But, you know, again, this is your walk. This is your spiritual thing that you're dealing with. But, hey, it's so unbelievable. Like, all the islands, they have their own brujerias and voodoo and whatever, you know. The criollos, you know, that came to Louisiana, the Creole people, they also have their own form of voodoos and stuff like that. So, but I feel like, once you start inviting and opening all that stuff up, lighting candles for this, that, and the other, if you don't want that in your life, don't mess with it. Don't invite it. Right.
Don't go make your own Ouija boards and all that bullshit.
Right.
And then ask why.
Right.
You know, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of foolish not to think that there's more than just us, the physical, all right, if we nail something, it's tangible or you can see it. Like this existence and this universe is too grand for us to be the only thing here.
Right.
You know, it's but like you said, if you invite it, then it'll take your invitation. If you really, really want that, you know, and some people, like you said, that follow that as a religion, you know, there's no difference than being Catholic or Christian. You know, you're believing in a possibility of something that this world has experienced, you know, whether it's miracles, whether it's, you know, regardless on what you believe in, you know. Yeah, and if that's what you manifest, and that's what your mind and your existence is going to create for you.
Right.
You know, because in the end, like, even if it's, like, say you see Casper and I don't see him, you know, that doesn't mean that it's not there, because maybe in your brain, your chemical or whatever,
right.
You know, like
mental health.
The human machine is such a spectacular thing that, you know, you change the formula, or you think a different way, then your body reacts differently, and now that's real. You know, that I don't think we have the science to really pinpoint and be like, okay, well, she's just batshit crazy, you know, or you know, he's batshit crazy for not seeing what we're all seeing.
Right,
you know?
right.
It's dope. I don't know. It's
right.
Unique.
Yeah, actually, I love documentaries and stuff like that, and like true crime TV and stuff. Yeah. It's kind of crazy because I think that everybody's on a kick like that. Yep. I think it's sad that it has become entertainment.
Yeah.
Because, you know, what those people have grieved, they lost somebody. But in another way, it's like when I watch it, I'm like getting educated on it, you know, like what not to do as a woman, and, you know, or always covering myself, like getting receipts from places and things. It's such a weird way of thinking. But yeah, just gosh, where was I gonna go with that? Oh, now I don't remember. But yeah.
I'm all for forensic files and shit like that. Like that's my wheelhouse. I fucking love that.
That's
shit.
where I was going. So there is this thing. I think it was, and don't quote me, but I know it's something like hysterical blindness or shock blindness.
Okay.
And they said that like some soldiers had gotten it.
Okay.
And there was a big trial and everything. I don't remember where it was at, but they had blamed so there was two soldiers that walked in somewhere, and they said that the other guy behind his buddy shot him.
Okay.
Like he came around and shot him. He said he thought there was somebody there. The dog was barking like somebody was there, but he couldn't see that person that was right in front of him. They say that we had that sometimes. Like some people don't see your face.
Yeah.
Like they won't focus enough to see it, so it's like it's not there, and you have like you just don't recollect. But yeah, check that out. It's a real weird, scary thing, but it's like shock blindness or hysterical blindness or something like that, where you know something's there, but you don't see it.
Yeah.
And the guy like totally went like blind to what was happening when he saw his like partner down, and I think they were like MPs or something, but he saw his partner down on the ground, and he's like, I seen him get shot from up front, and there was somebody right in front of him, but I didn't see that person. Like I didn't know who was there. Like I didn't see it. It was so weird. And I was like, whoa, you know?
Yeah, it's a spike. It's a spike in the machine. It's like, you know, it misfires.
Our brains,
Our
like we
brains.
said, our brains are
Yeah.
just like, it's traitorous. Our bodies are traitorous.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if well, shit. Look at these things. These things, you know, hold as much information, if not more, you know, than what we perceive or what we can store in our heads. You know, and they malfunction. You know,
Right. Ooh, AI. That's another scary old little thing that I like. Elon Musk. Just now, I was reading where, something about like a monkey with his brain can do something like move stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they put something inside of him and he
they
can
have
do
that neural
stuff.
chip that they're coming out with.
I'm like, man, don't play with that. You're gonna end up being like an iRobot. You know, you're gonna be doing everything they want you to. You know, it's just so crazy. You know,
But it's the evolution, though. It's like we've been drawing this point since the beginning, you know, of futurism. You know, from the pyramids where people interpret them and they're like, oh, look, this hieroglyphic or this art says that there was UFOs, and you know, like we've been, and then modern, you know, Jetsons and Star Trek, Star Wars, whatever.
bionic arms and
Yeah,
legs. So yeah,
you
I know we've
like-
been getting that way, but
Like
man,
that's been, you know, like I'm a really big vision board, even though I don't create them, but I believe in vision boards, you know, and I believe in what you ask for, you receive, you know, in some way, shape, or form, because you're actively concentrated on that. And I think as a population or as a race, a human race, you know, that's always been on our vision board, the futuristic, you know, so we're starting to get there now. Now people are like, oh shit, okay, it's finally happening.
yeah.
It's like, it took a long time, you know. Jetson said we would be there in like the 90s, you know, but now we're in the 2020s, you know, and it's not that far off where now we have, you know, toys that you can buy where you can, you know, maybe it's not kinetic energy,
What
but
is it? Augmentation of reality, or the Oculus thingies.
yeah,
Where
but they have actual toys that you can just, you know, put your hand under and you can navigate it.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
saw
science.
that. I
It's
saw that.
it's not like it's kinetic energy or you're doing it like Darth Vader or anything, but still to have the technology where, you know, it's not like before where you have, you know, shitty ass airplanes that just go forward, backwards, and up, and then they disappear in a tree. You know, now you got fucking drones that can fucking maneuver and turn and
right.
stop, and or you can even with your hand push it, you know, or guide it. Like that in itself is amazing.
I just saw that. I think I was like watching yesterday, like it was Tribe TV or something like that, and they were talking about like all the new tech, and one of them was like a straight up like a Tony Stark thing where they had gloves on and they had like these like goggles on and they would go like that and it would show like the inner workings of a spark plug and how you put it together and everything, and then it was like a shock. There was another like car shock too, and they were showing how you could do it together, and like the guy was training the other man, and like it was showing like for education and stuff, and I was like, that's so damn cool. That's so damn cool. But and the other thing that I think is unbelievably fascinating, but it's super taboo, is it's stem cells. They're actually able to 3D print like ears, kidney, you know, like your inner organs, and sometimes like this stuff, like your nose and stuff like that's
cartilage and stuff like that.
And that's so bananas, you know. And I love that you're saying that, the futurism stuff, because it's true. I love collecting vintage things, like I said yesterday. And I had this book where it was like from the 30s or something, and they were saying that we were gonna start like jet packing around. We were gonna live underwater, in the moon. We were gonna have like wings that just fly us places, and like, so right now it's 2021, and I know we had it last year, but they're really trying to get it going. We're not gonna have flying cars, no, I don't think in our lifetime we might not have that, but the driverless car, that's so insane, you know?
Especially with these fucked up ass potholes.
They're like, we're pulling you over, and the thing's like, they're like, wait a minute, there ain't nobody in here, and the person in the back's gonna be like, they just, because I seen that there was like a remote control like car that like picked somebody up. I don't remember if it was TikTok or what it was, or Twitter, whatever. It was so weird, but it was like a guy, he was taking it to the airport, and it was like a van, and it doesn't take the highway or anything, and it only does like top speed like 35, but it was taking like all the streets, and they're like, you know, if it got pulled over for something, there's nobody in there pulling. The cop be like, you drunk. Wait a minute, there's nobody in here.
No, you went to the back seat.
Oh my God.
That is crazy to see. Like, it's intriguing to see how far advanced is going to be like once we get older. You know, like once we're old and all right, our time here is, you know, hopefully we make it to being old. You know, our time here is done, and take a look and be like, damn, this is where we're at. If only I had like 40 more years to see where the next, you know, because shit, when I was a kid, the fucking dopest thing was those little AA video games, you know, little ninja Gaiden games.
Just with the two buttons.
With the two buttons and shit. Or going to the fucking Goodwill and finding the old like Tecmo Bowl, little handheld football shit where you can just go up, down, and you know. And now you see what it is now, and it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like, okay, so my grandma's been gone now since 2015, one, and then 2007, the other one. But like, they grew up in Puerto Rico, and you know, one grandma was pretty poor, and they didn't have no TV. That stuff was like still like a marvel. And now here I am. I could watch TV on my phone. I could, you know, and so that many years ago, my grannies were still like, whoa, that we even had like a little TV screen that we would take with us with our little kids. If we're doing groceries or whatever, you know. And I remember like having that TV, and they're like, ¿Tú tienes televisión in the car? You got a TV in the car? You know, they're like, whoa. And cell phones, you know. So trust me, the stuff that's so modern to us, like nothing. Pero if you go from having like no TV, nobody had a car in your little village or town, you know, especially like Mexico también, you know. I remember, I think one of my ex-husband's like family members, a great-great-grandma, they're like, there was not even a car and there was one phone that went to like a post office or whatever, and nobody was hooked up, you know. And just the technology is so, it just went from like being, okay, you know, we're doing telegraph stuff to like, phew, you know, we jump forward, and I'm still like fax machines and stuff like that, like stuff that came out in our time, you know. And then now your kids are better than you almost, you know.
Oh yeah, these kids have it very good. You know, and it's crazy that, you know, you think about it and it's like, oh, there's a lot of progression through that time, but it's been less than 100 years. You know, like that's 100 years. And if you are somebody that, you know, goes by the calendar, well, obviously we all go by the calendar, 2020 or 2021, you know, if in less than 100 years out of those 2,000 years of existence, you know, we were able to make this much advancement, you know, what's going to bring 100 years from now?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's going to be...
I really do believe that we're going to be literally running around with like bionic everything, just about, just to catch up with the ailments of life, you know, and maybe people will live longer. I mean, so going back to the Bible, these people lived long because I'm promising you, no pollution nowhere. They were eating at home. And if they did eat out, everybody's eating the same thing. Nobody like put sugar in it and whatever, so you could come and eat there, you know? So yeah, I think that people may live way longer with so much
with
medical advancement. Yeah.
You know, 3D printers and all that jazz now that we have.
Yeah.
It's
And
dope.
did you see that they were saying that because of the COVID vaccine, that they might have found like an HIV vaccine and some cancer cures?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because of how like it isolates, you know, because it's not exactly you're not getting COVID. They're not injecting COVID in your arm. They're injecting like an antibody or something that makes your cells like mimic it. So they're saying that they found something like that for HIV and some cancers.
Wow. And it's about time. You know, it's about time that they started announcing the new nuances of medicine. You know, because obviously there's been advancements throughout, you know, bypasses and the new tools and, you know, surgery that used to take months, now you recover in a week or two. You know, something that was, you know, you might die or you might have to take a limb. Now you can do it in, you don't even have to valet your car. You can just wait in the fucking parking lot and be out in 10 minutes.
Yeah, here, take my arm.
Right?
Do what you got to do and I'll come back.
You know, I think it's like with anything, is like, as a society, I think we're ready for something to give us that next, you know, like Larry says, what is it saying? Every 500 years, every 500 years there's a change, you know, and I think we're due. You know, especially I think the last time we really had a boom was what got us to where we're at now. You know, when we were intrigued about going to space, when we're intrigued about, you know, going to other planets and like what is outside of here. You know, I think we're due for another either technological advancement or medical advancement. You know, and not necessarily that you know, these advancements are gonna better, because obviously, you know, like you said, with processed foods and this and that and how we don't take care of ourselves, you know, for the most part, you know, that in itself, for one thing that we solve, we create another 15, you know, because now you have cancers that are caused by, you know, preservatives and, you know, cancers that you wake up due to what's in your food, saturated fats or whatever, you know, it may be, you know, so you have
totally
to,
agree.
you can't keep up, but then that's why it's always wise not to really, that's why I tell you, you're never gonna, your brain can't grasp the meaning of life. You know, it's the same thing. You can't focus on every single potential issue or potential hindrance in life, because you'll drive yourself mad.
Yeah.
You'd be a very miserable person. Just, if it intrigues you, great, take it in, digest it, and then move on and keep on moving.
Right. It's true, because you know what I mean. That's a big part of anxiety right there. Is that instead of carrying two things in your hand, two issues, emotions, whatever, you're carrying a huge bundle, and they're all starting to come out from the bottom because you cannot carry all that. So I say, you know, I tell a lot of people too. I'm like, what doesn't matter right now? Take that, swipe it over there, and then at least two, three if you want. But you know what I'm saying? Like, narrow that down to the point where it's manageable. And that's what I do every day. I try to do that every day. I have moments at night where I'm just like, you know, but for the most part, it's make it manageable for yourself, you know? And it's exactly what you're saying, you know? For one thing we create that's amazing, we've created a gazillion other things that are just going wrong. Like we talked about yesterday with cryptocurrency. They said that cryptocurrency is like gonna kill the planet faster now because it burns up so much energy just to make it or to keep it going.
The servers and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I'm like, good Lord in heaven above, don't these people know about like wind turbines or sun, you know, or, you know, a solar energy? I'm like, water energy, you know, there's other countries that I'm so amazed by that, where I don't know if it was like Switzerland or Germany. I don't remember exactly what country it was, but their wind turbines are amazing. And then they take like wherever from the river, and they have these like, I think England actually might have this or London, whatever, but it's like, across the river, it's like a dam, but it's like, it's got like fans in there, turbine thingies, and it's fueling energy around. It's so insane to me. You know, there's a better way. There has to be a better way. We're trying it. You know, that's what they're saying about like plástico. Get rid of it. Have glass, you know, because plastic takes forever. To decompose and whatever. And today I had to throw away a N95 mask. Tear it, rip the ear things off of it. Don't leave it anywhere on the street, and, you know, make sure you take that off so that animals or whatever gets around, it ain't gonna kill them too, you know? So for one thing that we need, we're creating other things. So.
Yeah, we're very irresponsible with the blessings that we have.
It's true.
You know, it's and even just because we're city folk, you know, doesn't mean that, you know, we don't have a responsibility to our ecosystem, to, you know, and it sounds corny, you know, it sounds lame, but really, in reality though, that in itself it helps you towards a balance. You know, if you're conscious, if you're conscious of, you know, that you're a part of this and you're not just, you know, I don't know who that is. If you're conscious of what's going on, you know, in regards to where you live and what you're a part of, then it kind of gives you the tools to see things a little bit different.
Right, help the community.
Because I've been behind vehicles where legit, like, they come to a stoplight and fucking garbage from the house, like in full-on garbage bags, and McDonald's and Popeyes and Chick-fil-A, and I'm like, damn, bro, it's one stoplight, and you just put like fucking 4 pounds of garbage in the middle of the fucking intersection.
Ah, man.
You know, and how do you tell those people anything? You know,
right? Nobody listens.
Nobody like, well, what the fuck is it to you? You know?
Right.
Or you don't even have the opportunity to fucking say anything. You know, it's just, and not saying that, you know, I'm a
perfect person with litter or whatever. Yeah,
you know, with litter and stuff like that. But I really go out of my way to not litter. I'm not the guy that's gonna go out of his way to clean up, you know, everywhere he goes as well. But, you know, I'm conscious of how I treat my environment.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And I'm glad that we're talking about this, because tomorrow, y'all, is 414 day.
Yeah.
And
oh, yeah, it is.
Yes. And let me tell you, find somewhere safe that you could go out and clean up your community with friends. You know, maybe go for a hike, and, you know, there's going to be what's like mustard greens, you know, they're like invasive species. Okay. It's on my Facebook. I need to share it, but it's like a day where they're going to pull them from like parks and places because they have to get them out, because if not, they'll chew up everything and eat up everything, and it's just horrible for the environment. But, you know, go to a local food pantry, see if you can help. Well, email, call places, see if you could volunteer your time. If you can't do money, volunteer your time. Yeah. The cheapest thing that, like I said, go for a walk on your trail, your favorite trail. Get yourself a bag, get yourself a pokey stick, and just start picking up wherever you are. Yeah. You got, as city folk, he just said it. We live in a place where we got to share this with the animals that are around. They're sharing it with us, and we have to be responsible. So wherever you are, you see some trash. I know it's COVID times. That's why I said, get yourself a pokey stick, pick it up and throw it away, you know, or one of those little grabber things, you know. Yeah. And or like I said, make sure you could safely do this. Go somewhere and volunteer, or get your clothes together. Whatever that you could do is 414 day. Go support a local business. Show out that Milwaukee can be this amazing place that it can be.
Yeah, no, these past few years, well, obviously not last year because of the whole COVID and whatnot, but the years prior, I'm kind of surprised that they passed me up. We usually do a community cleanup wherever we're at. I think the last one we did it was 2 years ago, and we cleaned up. When did we clean up? Mitchell Street.
Oh, okay.
We went to Mitchell Street and we cleaned up between I think 13th and 3rd and Mitchell. I don't know. But it happened to snow on that day. We were snowed out. It was a blizzard on 414.
Oh,
that
man.
was actually fun. But yeah, that definitely go out there. I know a lot of organizations it's a very trendy thing to do for 414, and there's a lot of people that don't like it for that specific. But still, who cares? Just go out and do something.
Right. If you're helping your community, and you know what? Okay, say you don't go for a walk. Go in front of your house. I'm promising you, the litter from the winter is there on your, on the the curb.
Yeah.
Take some gloves, whatever, some bags, and just pick it up and throw it away. Then you did your little part. Make sure you're recycling properly. Whatever that it is for yourself, how you feel good. Or like I said, go somewhere local. Get some food locally, small business. I just think it's I know it's trendy, but I think that it's a nice thing to show that our communities care about their own people and each other.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
Not everybody's going to be jaded to that fact, So you are going to be amongst people that are genuinely out there just like, hey, fuck it. 414 might be corny or something trendy or hipster to you, but I'm just out here to have a good time on my day. I just happen to have off. I have a little bit of time. Just let me fucking pick up some garbage and get the fuck out of my face with your bullshit, and just let me enjoy my day, that should be fair for people to be able to partake in stuff like 414, and you don't have to wait for 414.
Yeah.
If you got a long lunch break today and you want to walk and collect a bag full of garbage and then do an Instagram post, and so you can get likes and shares and all that shit, well, then do it.
Man, I'm not going to judge anybody that does that. The only time that I get a little like, oh my goodness, is like if you're at a homeless shelter and you're taking pictures with these people. Come on. That's garbage right there. But I mean, if you want to show, hey, I picked up a bag of garbage for 414, that would show that we're, this city can be decent, and we care about our environment and stuff like that. So
I think I'm gonna go outside in the front and pick up some of that fucking garbage because we got a shit ton of garbage.
Yeah. I'll help you.
We're in the valley. For you guys that don't know, 3600 is here in the valley, and we get wind from every direction. It's so powerful that under the bridge we have couches and mattresses.
Right.
I don't know if the wind did those.
Yeah. It's a shame though. It's a shame.
But yeah, too bad they're not in good condition. They need to start fucking throwing away their good sofas so people can come through and scoop them up and repurpose them, not these fucking half a recliner fucking. I'd be surprised at the shit that you see down there underneath that bridge.
I'm not. That's actually, there's some shady stuff going on.
I'm just glad there's not
there.
Bodies there. It used to be it used to be a high traffic place to find bodies.
Really?
Like in the 90s and the 2000s when I first got here. This was a rough part of that area.
Wow. Right. Well, that's why we tell people if you come for an interview, we'll take care of you. We'll make sure you get in and out safely. It's not, you're not going to get anything besides maybe some crazy traffic because people are like, or crazy drivers because people like to fly around here. But for the most part, just, watch when you cross the street, tell, the DJs or BJs that you're here, and we'll go out and we'll open the door and greet you, wherever you are, your car, if you don't feel comfortable, But, I just feel like 414, we could do it. We could do something. We could do any day, and I wish that like all cities would do that for and they might, some might, but I know we do, and I appreciate it. I like it. Exactly. Last year we couldn't do anything, but this year, things are a little let up, If you're playing Pokemon Go too, bring yourself some gloves or whatever, and just pick up a little trash as you're Pokemoning or whatever you want to do. So it gives a good boost to the environment around and animals and people. So.
How long have you been in Milwaukee?
Oh my goodness. Well, I've been in Wisconsin for 15 years now.
Okay.
But I would say like Milwaukee, that's kind of weird, but I think I've only had like a total of like maybe 3 or 4 years in
really?
Milwaukee, if
Okay.
that. Yeah. And part of it was in Tosa.
Okay.
So like right on the border.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just, but still, I love it here. I don't think I'll go home. I love Chicago too, but it's just so expensive. It's very crowded. And I just like that I was able to find like who I am here in Wisconsin. That was like the big, I found who I was, and I left my town and people with small minds, some of y'all, and I was able to find who I wanted to be for myself.
That's good.
So
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Milwaukee is shit. I've been here since my brother. I was 9. My brother was 5. So I've been here since 9. So that's a lot of years. A lot of years. I've been here a lot of years, and I've never been back to California. So I feel like I'm from here. And I don't know. It's weird to go other. I've moved other places, but it's never the same. Even El says it. He's ventured off to live other places, but it's something about it. I don't know if it's like Michigan. It just like if I'm not near a body of water or Lake Michigan, I feel weird.
See, yeah. In the last 15 years, that actually happened to me. It's kind of funny. I lived in Milwaukee on 60th with my family, and then when I moved to Racine, and I literally was like 4 or 5 blocks away from the lake.
Yeah.
And then when I moved back from Racine to Milwaukee, back to 60th, and then I moved up to Port Washington. Dude, I was right there on the port too, like not that, like maybe like a mile away or whatever. It was not that far. You could walk to it from the house. It was such a nice thing. So I've almost always been like by the water, and it's really nice,
Yeah. It's very nice, to have, I don't know, it's just, it has that feel. Like, I don't know, I went to Tulsa, and they had a river that ran through the neighborhood that I stayed in. But it was a drought year, so it was just empty. And it was like the most depressing thing ever to see. Like this little stream on this, where there used to be this grandiose river, And like legit, that was the reason I left. I had a great opportunity down there, and I was like, you know what? I feel lost without a body of water near me. So I came back home.
Wow. Yeah, I have to say I do appreciate Wisconsin for just, I mean, obviously there's good, bad, and the other. Our political landscape is absolutely crazy. It's pretty sad that our gun violence has kind of been going up too as well. It just, there's so much about Wisconsin that it's not just those things, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if you focus on the negative, obviously you're going to find it wherever you go. But I found like just different types of people, different way of being. And it's like, when I first moved here, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because I went from being like, in Chicago to being like, oh, okay, because people dance, or they don't even dance. They just hold their drink and
and they rock back and forth.
Right. That's it. Where I was just like, vamos, in Chicago. And here I was like, oh my God. And when I moved here too, I was going through a divorce, and, I needed a change. I needed a whole change in my life, and I wanted something different. So, I had gone through my divorce, and so it was like a whole new start. And it did. It gave me a whole new start of what I needed. And sometimes people need that. They need to get away from their families and their lives and just say, hey, you know what? I need something different. And that's what came up here. And it has not been perfect, obviously. Things have gone crazy, but I'm happy to be here. So
That's good.
Yeah. So anything else going on this week besides 414? Any kind of new stuff going on?
Yeah, actually this Saturday and Sunday we do have a pop-up event here. So we will be here all weekend helping set up and run that with Jakari. But that should be fun.
Awesome.
You know, everybody of Burnham and OG and them are heading to Arizona for the event.
Yes.
I know a lot of people in the city are heading to Arizona. So if you happen to be in town this weekend, don't get a chance to go to Arizona, you know, come hang out. Come hang out. I know last month's event was actually very, very fun. A lot of great networking, a lot of great support amongst the vendors and amongst people that came in.
Yeah, I know I bought myself an outfit and I was jamming after that.
Yeah, yeah, so we should, I haven't really seen the list of vendors, but I think it's very similar. You know, a lot of apparel, a lot of personal care type items. So it should be fun. It should be fun.
The last time, I'm almost sure, because it seemed like that kind of demographic, but it was like Black woman owned businesses.
Yeah.
And that was super cool to see. Just
about 90% of the vendors were Black.
Yeah. And I was like, all right now, you know, we're supporting each other. We just need some signage. I told them the next time they do this, make sure they have some good signage.
Yeah, we're supposed to get a sign made. Damn. Thanks for reminding me.
Mira. And park good. Park, because around here, not gonna lie, the dang people for the city, they're on some shit around here. They'll give you a parking ticket and you just park like 2 seconds to grab something. They're like, oh, vamos, there's a ticket. And they love to do it on the weekend. Woo, boy. So yeah, make sure you find yourself a good spot. I think that other parking lot, the Veloband, they're not there right now. So it could probably be used temporarily, as long as you're not sitting here for like 10 hours, you know. Not that we don't want you to hang out and spend your money. Pero, you know, you don't want to be here for a long time.
Traffic moving.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So that will be Saturday from, I believe the hours are 2 to 8. And then Sunday as well, 2 to 8.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if we are going to have Food Mob making food. I'm not sure. But we'll figure that out.
My God,
You
if
know,
they
come
do.
through. Oh, yeah.
My goodness.
Oh, man.
Yeah, if you have not had their food, oh my goodness. I'm like, man, you said that and my mouth's watering. I'm starving. I haven't had, I only had a little bit of breakfast today, and I had like 2 doctor's appointments, like I said, and I'm starving right now. So I'm like, Dios mío.
I had some Stennies last night. We went to Stennies for late dinner, just to recap. And this morning I had like a Cliff Bar. Yeah, it was a Cliff Bar and a cup of coffee.
Oh, so you know you need something too to sustain.
Oh yeah, I'm ready for some lunch. But now it's dangerous because if I eat lunch or I eat something, then I'm gonna get sleepy. I gotta have a productive afternoon.
You gotta get that signage.
Right? I gotta figure out what we're gonna do with that signage. I'm gonna have to draw something. But yeah, we are gonna need something for this weekend. But yeah, that's what we have going on for this weekend. You know, just working on a whole bunch of stuff. That just seems to be the atmosphere around here. It's like it's always planning. You know, that's the one thing I love. I love and I hate at the same time. The planning, because obviously it's tedious, it's meticulous. You want things to turn out as best as they can. But for me, it's the completion. Like, all right, we did all this planning. It was hectic, but now we've produced, and that's where it is, and it's done. All right, now we're back to planning.
Yeah, you reap the benefits. You see all the hard work paid off because the event or whatever it was got done. Yeah. So.
Yeah, definitely. So the next one that we got going on is we're working on putting together with Almil and the station here at 102.5, putting together something for Cinco de Mayo.
Awesome.
So it's going to be it's a daunting task. There's a lot of moving parts, but I think we got it.
We actually talked about that on the Burnham and OG show. We were OG and I were talking about that. Was, you know, the cultural appropriation of Cinco de Mayo. That, you know what, hey, yeah, celebrate it, but there's a way of celebrating it respectfully. You don't got to run around and have a big old sombrero, you know. If you're a Latino and you want to do that, that's on you. But, you know, white boy, black guys, you know, black girls, whatever, don't do that. It's just not respectful, you know. And it was such a small victory for Mexico, and so many people died. So it really is a sad thing, pero it's still something to celebrate that there was a victory. It's just being an appropriate way. It's like going to like I love powwows. I haven't been to one in years.
Me neither.
And
I love powwows.
Yeah, they're amazing, but you would not go up there with war paint and a
Dressed
feather
like a
hat.
Kardashian.
Yeah, do not do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's just so disrespectful and rude. But it's a fun time. You celebrate with friends and family. Cinco de Mayo, man. I'm telling you, I had the best food almost every time on that holiday. I guess
We're not really in our family. Like we're a small family when we came here, and we changed. We weren't the traditional Mexican family, you know. But yeah, we never really celebrated Cinco de Mayo or Independence Day or
La Independencia.
like those. Like I'm aware of them, but it's not something that culturally like we would go. Like the 4th of July, like we would, like shit. We 4th of July was like carne asada, like fuck everything else. You know, for me as an American, that grew up here, I know, but like Independence Day, Cinco de Mayo, stuff like that, you know, that was never really a thing for us.
Yeah.
You know, outside of, you know, seeing people drive with the flags and the people that actually celebrated that I was around, you know. But it was never really something that intrigued me. You know, but now as I'm older, I'm like, okay, well, what the fuck is it really celebrating, you know? He's like, oh, well, it's a battle for Puebla or something like that. I was like, oh, shit, okay. Now let me learn a little bit of the history, you know, what is it really that, you know, what's really the deal and why we celebrate?
Right.
Not because Corona has a fucking dope ass commercial that has nothing to do with anything. You know, they're just trying to push a product like the Easter Bunny or like shit like
El
that.
was saying that. He's like, Hallmark holidays. We have turned everything into Hallmark holidays. I'm like, oh, it's true, you know. And
it's a fucking drink special. That's pretty much all it is.
Right.
Tacos and tequila. And I think that's the only thing you're gonna hear on that Wednesday.
And I'm like, no, they don't talk about like soldiers and whole people losing their families and houses. And I mean, the place got practically destroyed, you know, and just to win. And it was a victory. It was small, but it was a victory. But still, I mean, lives lost, complete lives lost. And even 4th of July should be more somber as well. I feel like, hey, I want my barbecue. I'm not even going to tell you not to celebrate in that way. But we're coming together because of independence, obviously. But look at how many people really, I mean, from both sides just died, you know? I kind of, now thinking about that, what do they do on 4th of July over there? Like, do they like have a somber like remembrance of people passing away and coming here and fighting, or do they just not think about it? Because Thanksgiving is weird for us. Yeah, we do Thanksgiving, which is another crazy holiday, really, if you look at the history.
A lie of a holiday.
Right, you know, Christopher Columbus Day, that should be Indigenous People Day, in my opinion, you know, because people were here already.
Have fucking days. I honestly think they should just get rid of all
the holidays.
Yeah, just commemorate what you want when you know, it's like, because even in Independence, you know, not when Independence Day was put on the calendar, like there was people that weren't independent because they were still slaves. Right. You know, so how are they supposed to celebrate, or how were they at that time supposed to celebrate independence? And like you said, now, how should the current people in any demographic celebrate independence? You know, because you might be free, but now do you commemorate those that weren't at the time and were forced? You know, so there's so many dynamics. Yeah. And so if you were just fucking clear the board and just be like, hey, let's celebrate being human.
Right.
You know,
hey, I love my Halloween, though. Halloween's my favorite, though.
Halloween,
Halloween's my favorite, you know.
Yeah.
Christmas, I like it because of the family and just like the love of feeling around my family around that time. It's so weird, but it's like, I think it's maybe because it's winter time and we're stuck in, and, you know, we have gone like sledding and stuff, but anyway, the last few years we've been stuck in, and just keeping that warmth and that tradition of being around each other. And you might not even celebrate Christmas. You could be Jewish as well, you know, or whatever that you celebrate. And it's just about family coming together and people being around. Because, like, I love, like, in Chicago, you know, we have obviously a huge Jewish population here, too, in Chicago. But, like, they would go eat, like, Chinese food because they do not really celebrate our Christmas in that way. And some Chinese people, of course. And they would eat Chinese food and they would go to the movies. And I actually loved doing that for a long time too. From Christmas time, when it was just my husband and I, we would go and do that because we're like, you know, family, they're going to do their thing for like 5 days.
Yeah.
You're going to go to like 3 different houses and stuff your face. So we would just do our own little tradition and do that. So
Yeah, that is pretty dope. That is pretty dope. You know, I like Christmas, well, obviously because of the kids and you know that whole thing of it, and like you said, the family aspect of it. You know, and I think that's more important than, you know, getting into the intricate details of what necessarily it is that you're celebrating. You know?
right.
Because Christmas wasn't celebrated on the day we celebrated forever. You know, it was something that it was beneficial. It was beneficial for our nation and the calendar, and for how we sold calendars, for it to be moved to this specific date.
Yeah.
You know, so for people to be like, no, not December 24th or 25th. Is it 25th? My sister's birthday is the 24th.
Oh, mira qué bueno, bonito.
Like the 25th. Like, that's it. That's the day Jesus was born. You can't tell me otherwise. You know, it's like, okay, you're missing the point.
Right,
you know, it's like, but it's wonderful times. You know, when you can have that. You know, it gets you away from the bullshit. And it's dope that that's the only fucking time of the year that people let you take off of work and actually pay you for it.
Right, Dito.
You know, because even now, like, these past, 5 to 10 years, that whole aspect has left us as a society. You know, the being off on Easter Sunday, the being off on, X, Y, and Z day, that was something that was no longer existent. Like now it was Black Friday after Thanksgiving.
Black Friday.
Or, it didn't fucking matter. If you work retail, it was the day of, the day after, there's no off days. You're in there, you go fucking win the game. Like you have no off days whatsoever.
Right.
But now this year and that last year because of the COVID, like now as a society it's starting to turn again. Where Easter Sunday was about 3 weeks ago, maybe?
Yeah, say not that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago. And places like, grocery stores and retail stores and, places that are used to being open on days like that, they started giving those days off again. So that's refreshing, because those are things that as kids and as people, like I used to look forward to, spring break or winter break or stuff like that, and you need that. You need breaks.
Yeah.
You need breaks because if you, like, obviously you want to stay busy, but being overly busy, it gives you the same effect as, not being idle or not taking advantage of what you can do,
Right. Or it messes with you too because, you need let me just say, COVID was a blessing and a curse because you started to see that there was nowhere you absolutely needed to be, even at work, which is sad because, obviously people need the income and things like that. But it's true, the day after Thanksgiving wasn't such a big deal, and another thing that I think is crazy is like, okay, so